for Wednesday, February 18th, 2026 at 9 a.m. Number 2, please stand for Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 3, roll call, starting from my left.
Tim Schumacher.
Hasdell here,
Baker?
Samuelstead here.
and Brad is on vacation. Number 4, certified posting of the meeting agenda, please.
The agenda was posted on February 16th, Monday. Rome Town Hall, 4:40 p.m. Nakusa Port Edward State Bank, 4:50, and Quick Trip, 4:45 p.m.
Thank you. Number 5, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 6, elector or citizen comments, where nothing turned in, we'll bypass 6. No action contemplated except possible referral to future agenda. Number 7, information, updates, meeting recaps, current events, and announcements. Tim?
Yeah, I had some stuff from.
Oh, you got it.
Yeah, thank you. I had some stuff from Camelot, and I want to thank the Arrowhead people that just put the fish sticks in. It was a great learning experience. Tim Rippon was with me. I think it went pretty well. That's the first one I've been at. But we do have our permits now for Camelot, and we'll be doing the same this fall. And I just want to thank everybody that was there. And we had a fishing contest about 2 weeks ago, and that was from the American Legion. I do not have any details at this time of how it went, even though I heard it was very cold because I wasn't around. And I guess they caught some fish, but I don't know what the extent of that is. Also, we have a fishing contest coming up this weekend, Saturday. I believe it's 6 to 6. I just wanted to make that so everybody would realize that we have one going on. Of course, it's going to depend on the weather. I know we have plenty of ice right now, but if it doesn't get any colder, we'll have to check that out. That's all I have. Thank you.
Mike?
The harvesting operation, we're going to start working on the machines April 6th. We'll probably be working 3 days a week, anywhere between 4 and 8 hours a day. And I don't know if this will require board approval or not, but in talking with Craig, him and I were going to share the number 1 position, the supervisory position, because neither one of us really wants to work full-time anymore. And Brad would then take over my responsibilities as far as maintenance on the machines and kind of be the second in charge. So I don't know, like I said, if the board's got to approve that, because it's a change in the management over there, but that's kind of our plan currently.
Let's put that on the next agenda. I don't know if we need to do it, but we can do it, make it kosher.
Okay.
So,
I don't see a problem with it, but
yeah, let's put it on the next agenda. Mark?
Nothing.
Anything? And I have nothing. First. All right.
Carl, just one thing. I see Lisa sitting out here in the yard. Her husband, Tim, Joe, he was the spearhead for the fish sticks.
He was very knowledgeable,
Yes.
easy to work with.
So tell Joe thank you.
Yes.
He really enjoys. Well, he enjoys the fruits of the labor.
Fish dinners?
Yeah.
All right, number 8, presentation by EOR, Nanobubbler update, EOR, and UWSP reports, Zoom meeting. Jay, you're on. Where'd you go?
Good morning, everyone.
What?
We have our team of Hannibal Wilkinson, Izzy, who is doing all the field work. Kevin Mazzarek is kind of the supervisor at UW Stevens Point, and Drew Harry has been doing all the data crunching. And Ann, I'm gonna just turn it right over to you, and we'll go full speed ahead.
We have before you get going, Mark or Jay, there's some, we can't see anybody because of some screens that are popping up from the town. So if you give us just a second, they're going to clear those up so that we can see everybody that's making a presentation.
Okay? Tell me when you're ready.
We will do that.
What did you do?
Taylor's adjusting it right now.
Again, your slide is the last one is next steps. There you go.
Can you see us yet?
Yes, we can see you.
Close that window right on that laptop.
Diana has her presentation up on the screen.
Careful, Carl.
I think you can X out all those different screens.
Can't you
can't you?
just X
Here's
out?
some to the bottom or close them.
Yeah, close them, I would think.
Of course, it's flying around or something. Jay, is recycle on your machine or is it on ours?
Recycle?
Yeah, there's a recycle. We're showing a recycle screen right now. No, it's gotta be ours. It's got one in there. So it's a email.
No, it's gotta be yours.
Yeah.
It'd be so nice when we get the system fixed.
No, the reason it's happening is because the screen keeps.
Out of here about 10:15 or so.
Okay. I don't see it being a long one today, so.
Be up in Stevens Point.
Just a heads up, we do have Audio Architects going to be redoing our whole system here the week of August or April 27th. So it's on the schedule. Finally, both rooms. Jay, I think we're in business.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Yeah, have at it.
Thank you, Taylor.
Sounds great. Good morning, everyone. It's great to talk with you again this month. We're continuing our series of presenting the 2025 monitoring data to you all. As Jay mentioned, we have Drew Harry from our team who helped with the data analysis here. We also have Lizzie and Kevin from UWSP who have been collecting the data and kind of leading the monitoring. So if you have any questions, we have a team here that's been working with the data quite a bit this winter and was collecting it this summer. So I just want to give a review, like I always do, of where we have been monitoring. I'll go lake by lake. So on Lake Camelot, we have monitored near the 8th Avenue Bridge here. We also have a container unit that was going here. In these slides, I've circled where the buoy data is because I'll be kind of drawing on that data throughout the presentation. And then we also have a control site on Camelot down here in the south, represented by this yellow star here that does not receive treatment, but we're able to use it to compare to our treated condition in order to see if there are any changes.
And one second, we still got something popped up there. It says 3CX. I don't know if that's us or apparently it's us.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Thanks again. Okay.
On Sherwood is where we have most of the activity. So all of the orange stars represent a monitoring site. All of the red dots represent where we have a NEO unit. And then and then these circles again represent where we have our buoy. And then this green star and this green outline star up here is where we had extra algae data, but that's what I talked about last month. And then on Arrowhead, we just have, we're continuing to monitor the marina. It did not receive treatment in 2025, but we did have a buoy there, so we'll also just look at that. This is also a reminder of what water quality monitoring we've done. We collected many different parameters, biological, chemical, and physical. Last month I talked about the algae data and the zooplankton data, and then this month I'm talking about the oxygen data, and then in March we'll be talking about the nutrient data, the other chemical component, and then we're continuously looking at physical parameters, and we'll collect follow-up soil data here this spring. So today we're talking all about oxygen. We're looking at dissolved oxygen profiles, so that is data that Lizzie and her team collected throughout the water column, and then we do have those real-time buoys that collected dissolved oxygen data near the surface at those starred location or those circled locations that I was talking about. The rationale for looking at dissolved oxygen is to compare changes in oxygen profiles pre and post treatment. And then also use that buoy data to look at trends in a higher frequency, because that data is collected every 15 minutes instead of every week. Overall, the goals of the nanobubbles is to increase the oxygen throughout the water column by injecting oxygen film nanobubbles. And we're doing that to try to decrease periods of low dissolved oxygen, both near the sediments and throughout the water column, to increase fish health and aquatic ecology health, and then also to avoid any release of nutrients from the sediments. That can occur when oxygen gets low near the sediments. Okay, these next 3 slides are going to have a lot of data on them that I'm going to kind of walk through, so I want to orient you to the plots that you're about to see. I'm going to show, for each lake, I'm going to show a series of 3 plots, the first of which is on the screen here, which is our dissolved oxygen profiles. These profiles are what Lizzie and her team took from 2025. Those are the colorful dots and lines, and then the gray dots and lines are what we collected in 2024. You'll also see that this is depth on the y-axis going down, so the top of the plot, and we have kind of the line there, that's the water surface, and then as you go deeper, that's deeper into the water. And then the x-axis has the dissolved oxygen concentrations. And so the kind of more to the right of the plot, the more dissolved oxygen. We also indicated with this red line on each of the plots where low dissolved oxygen is observed. So we want to have all of our data points kind of to the right of that red line, so that we make sure that we have a nice aquatic environment for fish and plants and invertebrates. So now I'm going to go over the results. So in general, we'll see some seasonal variability. So that means amongst 2025, there might be different concentrations depending on how much algae or plants are in the water. Algae and plants generate oxygen, so they'll increase oxygen in the water. However, there's also times within the summer that we can have kind of a difference in dissolved oxygen near the surface and near the sediments. So that would look more as a more horizontal or slanted line than a vertical line. However, in Camelot in both 2025 and 2024, we mostly have a well-mixed, highly oxygenated profiles near 8th Avenue Bridge. And then there is some seasonal variability we're seeing there, and we'll kind of talk about it in the next slides too. We're seeing a little bit more, less dissolved oxygen in 2025 compared to 2024, both within the control, which has no treatment, and when we have treatment, which is the dots that are yellow. So the colorful lines with dots that are yellow are data that the nanobubbles are turned on. So kind of the big takeaway from this plot is that we only observed one data point in which we had the oxygen below that number, which is totally fine because then it remixed the next day, and we're kind of seeing similar concentrations in dissolved oxygen between the control and 8th Avenue Bridge. This next plot is, this top plot is two different panels. Now we're looking at just the dissolved oxygen near the sediments, and this helps us identify if there is any chance of sediment phosphorus release. So additional nutrients coming into the water column that can fuel algae blooms. So again, there's going to be two panels. The first is 2024 and the second is 2025. This is looking at dissolved oxygen near the sediments. The y-axis is dissolved oxygen concentration, and then the x-axis is time. And again, the dots that are yellow are under a treated condition. And so we can see that in general, the dissolved oxygen near the sediments stayed above that anoxic threshold, which is good, so we're not seeing any release. However, we're not really, in general, the dissolved oxygen under treated conditions was a little bit lower than in the control and what we saw in 2024. So that can just be seasonal variability and year-to-year variability, but we're not seeing dissolved oxygen dip below that threshold that we're worried about, except in that one time period which you had seen on the other plot. The next plot is the data from our buoy, so that is every 15 minutes. Again, we're looking at a time series of dissolved oxygen on the y-axis, and the x-axis shows time. In this plot, 2024 data is represented in green, and 2025 data is represented in orange. And on the leftmost plot is 8th Avenue, and the yellow square represents when the nanobubbles were turned on. And again, we have that red line that represents a condition of oxygen that we're worried about for fish and invertebrates. You can see that there, when the nanobubbles are turned on, we kind of still see a similar signature in the dissolved oxygen in that orange line, 2025. We had some data outages with that buoy, so that's what that kind of abrupt line break is. But when it did turn on in the summer, kind of in the August-September time period, we are seeing, an increase of dissolved oxygen compared to the 2024 condition. When we compare that then to the next plot to the right, which is our control condition, we're seeing similar dissolved oxygen concentrations, maybe a little bit lower in 2025 when we're looking at the control, when we're looking at Camelot versus the 8th Avenue Bridge treated site versus the control. So kind of the main takeaways on here is that dissolved oxygen is a little bit lower in 2025 compared to 2024, and then has similar conditions in the control and 8th Avenue. Now we're gonna look at Sherwood. This is the same series of plots. It's just gonna have a lot more data because we have a lot more bays that we're looking at. So you can kind of see I've added an icon at the bottom of the screen that shows all the places that we're collecting data, and so there's a lot more data on this plot. Again, just to orient you, these are the dissolved oxygen profile, so this is throughout the entire water column, and then we are looking at the treated profiles have the yellow highlight on them. So for this one, we can see that some of the bays have slightly higher concentrations of dissolved oxygen throughout the water column under the treated condition, particularly looking at Bay 8, Bay 7, Bay 6, and Bay 5, and the others have similar dissolved oxygen conditions. When we look at the bottom dissolved oxygen conditions, we still see that the dissolved oxygen near the sediments is above the threshold that we're worried about, so we're not worried about nutrients getting released into the sediments. However, under the treated condition, we kind of see the same trend near the sediments, treated and untreated. And then when we look at the continuous data, again, this is the plot on the bottom. So this is comparing the orange and the green colors, and the yellow is when the nanobubbles were turned on. Bay 2, the unit was only turned on for about 2 weeks before it was shut off. So we don't have a lot of data after that. And then Bay 11, we kind of see a similar signature amongst 2024 and 2025. And then Arrowhead, again, this is not a treated condition, but I did want to show you this data just to kind of demonstrate that there is variability seasonally and from year to year, even when we don't have the nanobubbles going. So we can see that the profiles, again, are above the anoxic threshold, which is a good sign for nutrient release. And also, we just have a wide variability amongst the treated and untreated condition. And then when we look at the bottom bottom dissolved oxygen concentrations are again above that threshold. And we could see that comparing 2024 and 2025, we see some differences amongst the 2 years. However, they're within the same range of dissolved oxygen, just different dynamics on when the kind of low dissolved oxygen condition appears. All right, so this is my last plot, and this has a lot going on it, but I just this is something that I presented last year, and it's a really interesting way to look at it when we have as much data as we do is to look at how the dissolved oxygen changes throughout the day. So what drives this is that photosynthetic or any organisms that have chlorophyll in them, like algae and plants, they pump out oxygen during the day. So they'll increase oxygen during the day. And that is in these gray areas. So that's during the day. So you'll see these increases in our plots during the day. And then at night, they take oxygen out of the water. And that's how they breathe, essentially. That's how we take in oxygen and release it from our metabolism more frequently, obviously, but they use the sun, they take advantage of when the sun is out as their power source to use the sun, pump out oxygen, and then at night they take in oxygen. So you're going to see some swings in dissolved oxygen. What we want to make sure is not happening is that because we're not out there taking data at night, but we have these every 15-minute measurements, we want to make sure that the algae blooms or the plants that are there are not taking out too much oxygen from the water so that they're inducing that low dissolved oxygen condition, which can lead to fish kills. So we wanted to look at that data to make sure that wasn't happening. And then again, this is a time series, so dissolved oxygen is on the y-axis or the vertical axis, and then on the bottom is the hours of a day. And so we have May, and then we have April through October here. So this is kind of a complicated plot. The top plot shows 8th Avenue, then we go to Arrowhead, and then our Sherwood, Bay 11, and then Sherwood Bay 2, and that's why you see less treated conditions there. Again, on this plot, treated data is highlighted in yellow. So what we want to make sure that we're not seeing is that we have too many data points dipping below that red line, which represents our low oxygen condition. And in general, we don't. But we're seeing that kind of like in our middle of the night condition, especially on 8th Avenue. We see some of that happening more in June. And as we kind of go throughout the year, we kind of see those big swings and low dissolved oxygen kind of lessen. And we're seeing that in almost all of the conditions, treated or not. And then again, Bay 11 was treated in September, and so we're seeing kind of a similar signature between 8th Avenue and Bay 11, similar with the control and Bay 12. And then Arrowhead is still showing some big swings later in the summer. So all of these bays act a little bit differently, but what we can tell is that we're not seeing, long periods of low dissolved oxygen, which makes sure that the fish are healthy. Okay, that was a lot of data, but it all kind of boiled down to that we didn't see much low dissolved oxygen either near the sediments or in the nighttime, which is really good for the health of the lake and also good for not only the organisms, but also good for not introducing more nutrients. However, we didn't see huge differences in the treated and untreated condition. We did see maybe some bumps in dissolved oxygen profiles in Sherwood during the year. All right. So the next steps are to go through the nutrient analysis in March with you all. So that's going to be kind of the end of this series until we can get out there again with ice off and look at how the sediment digestion has fared. I also did want to just mention that we are completing the permitting process for 2026. Like I said, we're going to go out and collect bottom hardness again in the spring, and then look at the plants again. We did collect pre-treatment plant surveys on Lake Sherwood, so we'll go out there again and see if there was any difference in the plant community. And then treatment is going to begin again, treatment and monitoring will begin again in 2026. And that is my presentation. Thank you for your attention. I know that was a lot of data, but I wanted to kind of demonstrate how we're looking at this in many different ways, and in order to answer the questions that are relevant to your lake and kind of direct management. So I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
Anna, this is Mark Samuelson. Has all this data been submitted to DNR?
It has, and we were able to get a meeting with them during last week, where we presented similar presentations to what you have seen in the last 2 months. They are going to give us some feedback on the data set, and so we'll have that moving forward.
Dave Trudeau, do you see thermal stratification and turnover in the through report?
Might have to be by
I don't know if she could hear you, Dave.
No, we didn't get a microphone out.
Was that question directed at me? I'm sorry.
Yes. Do you see?
Oh,
Okay, I've got a mic now. Can you hear me, Ann?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay. Do you see thermal stratification and turnover, seasonal turnover in the 3 reservoirs?
So from the data that we've looked at, and Lizzie and her team have taken some additional profiles within the deep hole, but we also have historic data of that, and there is stratification within the deeper regions. It's just these bays are fairly shallow, so any sort of stratification that we're seeing is pretty weak. And so that's kind of demonstrated by those profiles that we show, which is those more vertical lines instead of slanted lines. So yes, in the deeper parts of the lake, which are the reservoirs, which we would expect, but not as much in the shallower bays, which we kind of have a lot of data to show that we have those vertical profiles that show that it's uniformly mixed.
And is the data that you've collected and supplied to the DNR, do they feel it's sufficient for them to eventually come to a decision on the permitting process?
They would not commit commit to any of that information just yet. I think we're kind of waiting on some actual feedback. It was mostly a listening session, in my opinion, but they were appreciative of that meeting and all the work that you all have been doing. So is that a good representation, Jay? Maybe you can give extra context.
No, I think that summarized it well, and, we're still waiting for a response. But we're moving ahead based on our conversation last week with our permitting process, and we should be, that's really kind of the test at this point, is throw our management plan at them and the permit application, and we're also looking at an option that would include turning on the ozone generators as a demonstration project. So we've got a lot of moving parts to this, but permit number one is firing everything up in May and running it all summer and getting a good long summer of data. Number two is transferring some of those units over to ozone sometime in the summer, just to see what we can do. And number three is raising the question of additional units in other locations and what they would require of that. As far as that third one is concerned, in order to turn in the permit, we need to have exact locations, pictures, know where they're going on the shoreline, when the turn-on date is. So at this point, I'm thinking that we do that in a series of additional permits. As we get, 5 of them ready to go in one spot, then we go after the permit for that.
And when we're pumping oxygen in the evening, does that have a lasting effect on the oxygen levels?
So that is, did you say in the evening?
Yep, nighttime when photosynthesis reverses, but we're putting in oxygen.
Yeah, so we would see any differences in that diurnal plot that I was talking about. Right now, it does look like those swings are condensed a little bit during the treated conditions, so that would indicate that it is having some impact. But again, we're not in a danger zone of having any fish kills, so either way, we're in a good condition, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But you can kind of see, so the spread in those plots is a little bit thinner when we have the nanobubbles turned on. It's pretty thin on that top plot, which is 8th Avenue already.
Yeah.
So there might not be as a pronounced effect. It'd be good to get more long-term data on additional sites, because we just don't have those. Bay 11 and Bay 2 turned on really late in the season, so it's kind of hard to definitively say how much of an impact that is, seasonally, or if it is because of the nanobubble treatment. Just because the bays that we had the buoys on, the units didn't get turned on for very long, except for 8th Avenue. So, sorry, that was a long answer.
That's all right. No, I was looking at the 8th Avenue one, and it does seem like a lot finer, compact, I guess we'll say, readings.
Yeah.
That's what we saw at the also at the marina when we did the test a couple years ago.
That's what we would hypothesize would happen.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. It's just we don't have a lot of data.
Jay, this is Mark Samelsted. Do we know in the sediment on the lakes how much legacy phosphorus and nitrates there are?
Ann, you want to
Yes.
run with that?
Yeah, so back in 2023, we took sediment cores on most of these bays, and so we do know how much releasable phosphorus there is, that legacy phosphorus from the internal load. And so we can revisit those numbers after we have a little bit more chance to do treatment. We don't have any information about nitrogen. If that's something that you would like to talk about, that could be taken as well. And then we'll be taking the bottom hardness surveys, which tells us more about, gives us more information about density than actual composition, because we don't run any chemical analysis on that. It's just kind of a reflection of how dense the sediments are. So how consolidated, muck is versus like a hard bottom. That's the information that we have. So we have phosphorus content, and we have kind of those bottom hardness surveys that gives us an indication of hardness.
The reason I'm asking, Ann, is currently we're going through the wake boat issue, and my concern is the prop wash, they say, goes down to 20 feet,
Yes.
and our lakes, if you get 20 feet, you're down by the dams, so they're going to be stirring up all this muck off the bottom of the lakes. That's going to add more phosphorus and nutrients to the water column.
Yes, unfortunately.
I guess are we spinning our wheels trying to treat the lakes if they're gonna, if this goes through?
So I will say that wake boats can disrupt the nutrient cycle by resuspending sediments, by uprooting vegetation. So, it is important to think about how much treatment you're putting into areas, especially where the wake boats are operating. I will say where the nanobubble units are, with the exception of 8th Avenue, I hope that they're not running in that mode in those bays, but that would be a huge issue if they were, in terms of how the nanobubbles would function. And also I'd be worried about how they operate as well, getting flooded with resuspended sediments and plants. We've kind of seen some maintenance issues come up because of that, because of not necessarily wake boats, but resuspension of sediments or kind of big mats of algae blowing into the intakes. We talked to Mead Lake about that. That was their primary maintenance issue. These are a little bit more protected from kind of that wind fetch, but if people were churning up the bays with those, that would be a problem. Also a problem about wake boats is you guys, did an alum treatment that would kind of disturb that application. And so there are, wake boats are a major concern for these shallower systems, in my opinion,
Thank you.
and from everything that I've seen.
Anybody else have any questions, comments, thoughts? Any final thoughts, Ann or Jay?
No, thank you, and I guess I'll continue my series next month.
We'll make sure it's on there.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Ann.
And
Thank you.
Pass it down to Carl.
Okay. All right. Number 9, presentation with Visit Rome. Lisa.
Not really a presentation.
Well.
So I'm Lisa Kubis with Visit Rome. We just wanted to acknowledge that healthy lakes are important for residents and obviously vital for tourism in Rome. And we want to thank Tri-Lakes for everything you do to enhance our lakes and protect them. So Visit Rome is happy to continue support of the Nanobubbler initiative with a check for $25,000.
One of the things too, This is a offer from Visit Rome for 5 years, $25,000 a year. We do take it at the beginning of the year because that'll help us then on interest throughout the year. So trying to keep the cost down as best we can. But thank you, Lisa. We really appreciate it. And tell the board the same. We appreciate it. Thank you. Number 10, 14-Mile Watershed Alliance.
Okay. Good morning. Got a few things to share. In regard to the biochar socks, getting that implemented, we got additional funding from Encourage Community Foundation, so that brings up our budget to $9,200. So we're in good shape for that. We're setting up a meeting with Scott Provost actually this afternoon, and to talk about how to set up the protocols and the testing and you know which bays we might deploy the biochar socks in, and we're also I've invited Jay Michaels to be part of that conversation as well, so that we can make sure that this meshes cleanly with the nanobubbler treatment and that it doesn't lead to any conflicting data. So from our work with farmers of 14 Mile Creek, we had put in for a Nature Conservancy grant for $10,000 for a denitrifying bioreactor, and unfortunately that grant request was not funded, so we're still looking for sources of funding for that, but we think that we'll still be able to find the necessary funding, and if not, we'll implement that project in stages. We did get some good news. Sand County Foundation did award us a grant of $62,500 toward using biochar as a soil amendment in farm field operations. So we'll be going ahead with that project and pilot program and data collection. Our State of Our Lakes, we're planning on doing that again this year. Save the date. That's going to be Saturday, June 6th. And just one other thing is we've still got Lakes and Rivers Convention coming up in April, so keep those dates in mind. I know several people on the board are planning on attending, so. Any questions?
I do. Dave, you, with your meeting this afternoon with Scott Provost, and you're going to talk about the biochar socks.
Yes.
Do you think once this meeting is over, you will have enough information based on what Scott has to say as to when this might be implemented, or if it's going to be, and where he thinks these socks should be placed?
That's totally our intent of this meeting, is to to focus in, because we've kind of got the dollar amounts, so we'll work backwards. We'll talk about how much testing there is, figure out lab costs, and then we can figure out how many bags we will be able to purchase. But we're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 250.
Okay, because I know that would be, maybe then we would just discontinue the barley bags, and that possibly, I guess, would be up to the board, but then the funding that we put into the barley bags, we could, turn over to the biochar sock bags.
Yes. And we'll part of the discussion is if we've got so much for our pilot study, but then if Tri-Lakes puts out barley bags, or not, but puts out biosocks available for the general public then as well, how that can fit in to the data gathering, whether we'd want to pull some samples from some of those socks as well, or so.
Because I know the socks have to be kind of in a water flow position.
That's where they're most effective anyway. I mean, they can be deployed anywhere, but I think kind of like EOR with the nano bubblers. I think we'll start focusing on some of the bays initially, even though they don't have a lot of flow, because that's I think where we'll see the greatest effect.
And one other question, with the $62,000 grant that you got for biochar on the farmer fields, where is the reactor that's creating the biochar that you would be using?
There are several sources. We haven't focused in on that yet.
Will transportation costs and stuff
They could
be
be
a
quite
big
high.
issue
I mean,
for you?
I mean, the ones that Pat Rogers got this last year that were put in just as a small sample size came from Colorado. So obviously that's a long haul. That's one of the biggest challenges with biochar is finding sources. But at least there's a kind of a group called Biochar Initiative, and they show that there are 2 or 3 Wisconsin sources. So we'll be looking for a Wisconsin source or at least a Midwestern source.
Okay, thank you.
Well, if we decide to go do away with the barley bag, or, yeah, what's the deadline that we can have to?
March 1st.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to cancel, it's by March 1st, yeah.
So that's coming up.
So Pat was going to get back to us with the data. Remember, she's got a mixture of metric and SAE on there, and it's kind of hard to figure out what the numbers actually meant. So as soon as I hear back from that, because we did talk about this before, but we're waiting to get the data back. I do have a cost on it. It was full truckloads, 2,400 units. It's 45,000 with shipping. But again, I want to present this to the Adams County Land and Water Committee, the guys I meet with once a month. But I want to make sure I got accurate data before I go after them, because if we can split some of this up and get a bigger truckload, obviously the cost will be less.
Right, so we'll, next month.
It's Adams County. It's with Bill Pegler. We meet on Tuesday nights.
Oh, Lake Alliance?
There you go. Yeah, I got a lot of meetings. But yeah, it's working with those guys. I'm gonna try and
If
see
we
if
get
we can
some information on a good source, we'll certainly look at piggybacking in order and trying to do what we can to get the most efficient cost savings and shipping.
Yeah, and I'm not sure when this one would have to be ordered, but I was going to bring some of this information and material with the Wisconsin Lakes and Water Convention. So start spreading the word there too.
Yep, you bet.
Carl, if March 1st is coming up real quick. If we decide not to do the barley and go with biochar.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we'll have to make a decision, but I think didn't we decide that last meeting, or do we hold off on it?
Put off for this.
We did put it off.
Yeah.
Do you know how fast I'm sorry, go ahead.
Dave, this is Jay. Do we have a time confirmed for that meeting yet?
Yes, you should have the Zoom invite at 1 this afternoon, our time.
Okay, thank you.
If we do order biochar from some company, has it been looked at as far as delivery dates? How fast that we could get the material once an order is placed?
I will probably be able to tell you more about that tomorrow.
Okay.
So I'll communicate either directly with Carl or through Jay to get some information back to you guys as soon as we can.
I don't think we need a board decision to cancel it because it's not a high amount. So we just cancel it. But it's that'd be my recommendation. Again, how about that study in Illinois though? There was a big study down in Illinois on some lakes, and is there any data from that one?
I know you asked for data, and I've been searching and most of what I've seen is pretty anecdotal. I mean, they say they put in, so many bags in a lake or a pond and it cleared up, but as far as measurements, it's kind of hard to find that out.
I'll send a note to Pat because she's the one that brought that one up. She said there was a study going on there for, I don't know, it's been like 3 years so far or something like that, 3 or 4 years. I mean, the data will help us a lot.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, do we need to March 1st isn't too far away. Do we need to make a decision on whether or not we're going to go with any of the barley bags or just discontinue that program in the hopes that the biochar is going to be a substitute for it?
if the data comes back reasonable on the biochar, I'd say we just drop it and switch them. Yeah,
Because we're only talking 10 days from now,
yeah,
so.
yeah. But again, I don't think we need to vote on it. We can just make that call.
Okay.
I mean, we haven't seen much on the. Again, there's not much data on the barley bags. There was that study from Pennsylvania, U of Penn, and it wasn't very informative. It's very light, we'll say, on data. So, all right. Thanks, Dave. Number 11, district update.
Directed me to call the harvesters and make sure, as usual, that they're coming back, because we sometimes lose a few. I know we lost a couple already. Mike, will Brad be working on a boat, or if it
No.
goes the way, okay. So we have at least 3 people, possibly more, we have to replace. So I don't know if I need your permission, but we need to maybe put some ads out there in the.
Let's go ahead. It's an office function, sure.
Okay, so that's basically all I have to say.
Are we done with the audit?
Yeah, well, the assistant, this year there's an assistant, so he was gathering a lot of the information, and then it sounds like then he's gonna be passing it to Kevin. So Kevin will be working on, so anything further Kevin might need, he'll contact me.
Okay.
So Kevin is starting to work on it.
Okay, and we're keeping Nicole informed of all the activities?
Like,
Well, just make sure she's copying all the emails.
okay, I mean,
Anything?
when they request something, I just scan it and give it to them. So no, I haven't.
Okay. Well, if
sent out
it,
things like that.
anything we can, yeah, I'd keep her informed on it, so.
Okay,
Anything else?
that would be it.
Number 12, county WIDNR and/or 9-key element update.
From the county, I got an email from, maybe everybody knows who Terry Miller is. They probably had the emails from him in the past. And he's requesting that there be a path put across the Camelot Dam, the evacuation area. I forwarded that to Aaron Tolley from the Parks and Rec Department, as well as Colton down at Land and Water. And both of them came back and said that pretty much is not going to happen because of the expense involved. But Colton did say that they're working on possibly constructing trails through the county forest area that's right there. And if they do that, they could then, the DNR foresters could use their bulldozers to smooth out that path that goes across the top of the dam. I know that Alex is probably well aware of how the ruts are and stuff like that on that dam. So it's possible the DNR forester bulldozers could create something that's a lot easier to traverse, but there's no plans or money in the future to pave that. So other than that, I have nothing else for the county.
We have 9-key element. Nobody knows what's going on there, right? We heard anything? Town update? Mark, anything?
No.
We are fighting the solar farm still, just let you know. Channel 12 is still working on it. What he did tell me that the more he digs, the more he finds. Might have a segment out tomorrow or Friday. Originally it was supposed to be a 3-minute segment. He said he's between 5 and 10 minutes. Going to be a little more involved. I sent him some more information, and we'll see what happens there. If you didn't get a chance to read the matrix, the solar company required a matrix. There was 9 issues on there with some sub-issues, and we had responses pretty much for all of them. And we did have some help from an outside person here. He's a town property owner, and he had some really good data that I fed to the lawyer, and he did use a lot of it. But read the matrix. You're going to see some interesting data on there. Our claims are very valid. They're making mistakes, and we're going to try and take advantage of it. So it is out on the PSC website, the response. Number 14, January taxes in August due. Just want to make just a quick comment. Last month, I mentioned that I thought we were getting short-changed on the taxes, but didn't dawn on me. We just got December payment. They collect more taxes in January because it's due by January 31st. So there probably is more funding coming this month. I'm guessing there'll be another check. However, they still, I believe they still owe us around $5,000. I'm going to turn it over to Nicole, find out why we can't get the money back from the county on the $5,000. That's overdue taxes that were received later, and it's our understanding it's around Regina, was that 5,100, somewhere around that range?
Now, that did come this past month.
The 5,000? Oh, I didn't see it.
I think it just came after January 31st, so
All right.
put on the February books.
Okay, good. Take that off. Anybody have any questions on any of that?
I did see, get an email, or I think all the county board supervisors got an email as well from the county treasurer. And she indicated that everything went smoothly for the tax season. The town clerks were happy with the way everything went. So I'm assuming that whatever reimbursements we're going to get from the county should be coming, forthcoming because of everything happening efficiently down there.
Okay, and I want to clarify, I did see something on social media where somebody was claiming that the town said it was the county's fault. It was not the county's fault on the 2025 taxes this year. It was town of Rome. We have to own up to it. However, just to let everybody know, we did bring in our accountant, Nicole Dunbar from Kerber Rose. She's a CPA, and she works with towns on municipal everything. And again, I think I may have mentioned, but she's going to do analysis for 2024 and 2025 tax issues. She's going to find out what happened, and she'll make a report on that. And then she's also going to make sure everybody that's involved in the town is trained, because we found out, unfortunately, that nobody had any training on the TIF. They don't know how to handle it. So she's going to make sure that everybody understands the TIF, because that was the problem both times. And then she's also going to walk this through at the end of the year to make sure everything goes through smooth for the 2026 tax season. Additionally, we're bringing her in for training for all the department heads in here, because they were given positions that they may or may not have been ready for, and we're not given proper training. So she's going to analyze all the department heads, see what they need for training, and make sure they get what they need for training, make sure everything goes smooth, and they're all being properly doing their job properly as what's expected for that position and title. So the town board is responsible to make sure these people are trained properly. So we're taking it seriously, and we're going to get it done. So any questions on any of that? Number 15, discussion of wake boats. Just want to mention that last Wednesday there was a bill rushed through by the boating industry to limit wake boats to 200 foot from shore. There was a counter bill that went through. I guess it was a compromise, but the counter bill was 500 foot from shore, and then I guess they compromised to 300. But there's still different bills floating around out there. Nothing's been voted on. There will be a vote possibly tomorrow on, I think, the Assembly, possibly. But the Senate probably won't get it until after St. Patty's Day. So just an update on that. We'll see where that goes. But the town is working on an ordinance, and we're going to continue working on it properly. So any questions on that? Discussion of possible action of following items. 16, discussion of possible action, approved minutes from Wednesday, January 21st, 2026.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 21st, 2026. There was just one change, I think, in item number 15, I think it was, that my motion and I think Mark's second was mentioned twice, and that's been corrected.
Yeah.
So other than that, I'll approve the minutes.
Okay, discussion? I do have one update. On 12, it says, town update. Carl reported that the solar farm meeting is tomorrow with Akron Solar. We had no meeting scheduled with Akron Solar. I'm not sure what that was referring to. I don't recall. But we are not meeting with Akron Solar.
Maybe a presentation by them? No.
Nope, we have nothing to do with them at this point. They are dealing strictly with our attorney. So I just don't remember what that was.
Who's that meeting with tomorrow, Carl?
No, it says on there that we were meeting with them the day after the meeting with Akron Solar.
I can listen to the recording.
Yeah, the solar farm meeting is tomorrow with Akron Solar. There may have been a solar farm meeting of some sort, but we didn't meet with anybody, especially Akron Solar. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
I need
I don't think there was a second.
Oh, sorry. Should have been a discussion then. I thought we had a second. Go ahead. Who's second? Second. All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. 17, discussion of possible action, approve vouchers and financials.
I'll make a motion to approve vouchers and financials.
I'll second it.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Number 18, discussion of possible action, docks and piers, discussion with Alex Tomczyk. Would you like to come on the mic and explain what your theories are? Suggestions. Suggestions.
Did an email on Monday to show up here, so.
You had sent to me that you had some ideas on how to possibly improve things, or you had to find out from us so that you could put your spring schedule together, how you were going to, start putting in your lifts and docks and stuff. And I sent that to Mark, and I think Mark possibly called you, or not?
No, I went straight back to you, Mike.
Okay. So,
You didn't go to the board.
okay, so whatever thoughts you had, Alex, about how they could improve the nano docks, piers, whatever.
I feel like last year there was a lot of confusion, timing, and then all of a sudden stuff had to happen the next day. And, if we're doing more docks and we're involved, ideally we order sooner than later so that we can have everything here, with the rest of our trucks, so we're not paying more in freight. And then get everything on the schedule so we're not jumping back and forth between lakes. And then I'm willing to be more involved with setting the units, running the plumbing, doing all that. Because I feel like the scheduling is a lot of the issues we have. And we'll see how things go in, but most of what I saw is hard fix PVC that's hooked to the dock that now in the spring is gonna have to go back in the water and line up perfectly with the units on shore. And I just see issues with getting it aligned. I see issues with, cracking, breaking of that hard PVC. Some of them, when we set them on shore, I don't know if all the water would have been drained out of them. So I just feel, if we got more involved with it, I think we could eliminate a lot of the issues we dealt with last year.
I think then that my suggestion would be to work with Mark, because he's the project manager as far as all of that situations that you just brought up. And between the two of you, with your ideas and what Mark knows about what's happening out there, you could probably come up with some type of solution or schedule as to how things should run.
Yep. And was there a reason PVC was used instead of like a 3-inch suction flex hose on everything?
You can't use flex hose on that. The only hose you can use is a steel reinforced hose, and it's extremely expensive.
Why is it? Because there's no pressure.
There is pressure, and it's 150 gallons a minute going through there. There is pressure. We did check that out with Moyer. When we did the big test on the marina, I had to go find a 6-inch hose, and I had to get specific. The guy in Nakusa actually had it, but it was extremely expensive. And we did check with other hose. The PVC should be fine. I know Mark, they were setting the piers, when they set the piers in the pipe, they do have some markings in there or something. They did mark it so that they know exactly where it's supposed to go back, so it can be hooked up again fairly easily. But again, you work it out with Mark and Mike. So
Okay.
yeah.
I know, even on our trash pump, we run a flexible suction hose, and I think that's 250 gallons a minute,
Yeah.
2-inch hose. There's a lot of flow there, but there's not pressure.
Yeah, well, they told us no on that. I was even looking at different connections where the unions we're getting for the PVC are, what do we pay for those? $26 each, something like that, I think. I wanted to get one of the cups, and they said, no way. Yep, they said no way. So, yeah. That was all Moyer's recommendations. So, the other thing, too, last year, it was interesting. It was a learning experience, we'll say, from the get-go. And, trying to get cabinets ordered. And there was a lot of loose ends last year, but I think we learned a lot from last year. So, we have a date in mind on 15th. Mark and Mike should be ready to go by that with the 10 units we have plus the big one. So,
And the big one is getting moved.
yep.
Is there any chance we could reconfigure the main tubes on that so the flanges are all past the dock, so that you don't need those additional supports on top of the dock?
I would. probably have you work with Lincoln and work that one out. I mean, we're open. I mean, we're not the experts,
Yeah.
but work that out with Brent from Lincoln.
Yeah, because I think that was the main issue on that dock, is because of the height of the flange and being over the dock, we then had to block it up. So
Yeah.
we put all the weight and pressure on a small area, rather than
Yep.
having that pipe blade the entire length.
Yeah. I don't think the dock will have to go out as far. I did some measurements last fall, and we've got decent depth out there, about 20 foot out, instead of going 60 or 50 or whatever we're at now. So
Okay.
it should work out better. Plus, talking to we were talking to some of the guys, might have been Brad. We don't expect the weed issue we had last year to be because they had where it was at there before. You had this circular pattern coming in, but this one's gonna be flow coming right out of 14 Mile. So we might be much better shape in that respect.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Mark, anything you want to add, or?
We have some of the same concerns that Alex has had about reconnection and all, but we believe we have a system established that we can reconnect all existing systems. We have no schedule yet on the 8th Avenue unit. We have some repairs that we need facilitated by BDT for our intake screens. They are started on the containers for any new units that'll go in 26. Everything is started, nothing is finished.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Any other questions on that? All right. Number 19, discussing a possible action. Alexander claim dam income. I just saw this today and I had a chance to look at it, but I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking at. But anybody got any suggestions or thoughts on this?
Well, that was, you want to explain, Alex? That was the document you sent to me.
And when Steve was there, I sent all the dam logs to Mark, and I basically said you can go through, see every day Brad worked, it's an hour per time, multiplied by what he gets. That's how you can figure out those missing years that apparently can't look back more than 2 years to figure out.
It's also because you can't look back at the mileage he was paid.
Okay.
That-
When Steve was at that meeting, he said the only thing that should come out of that money was Brad paid. Nothing else.
Yeah, that's always been part, anything like that, that's a cost.
And that was, when Steve was at that meeting, that was kind of the discussion, was there is a cost to try things, but the benefit is to control things. So it's not an even wash with the money that comes from the county, but that's how it was set up.
Well-
That's why we had Steve come in and explain that.
Yeah, it was set up so it was an even thing, and it was a benefit to the county and us. I mean, overall, yeah, it was a benefit. My suggestion is just get a hold of our accountant and let her dig through this, because I'm looking at the numbers we put out there, and we're breaking even, and I'm not sure how to define yours, and I don't really have the time to go digging in anymore. I'm sorry.
Employer tax.
I'm sorry?
all that. When you say you're breaking even, is that including the employer tax coming out of that money?
That was not originally in there. No, I don't believe it was. I think it was coming out without knowledge.
Okay.
So, not coming out. I think it was being paid by the district without knowledge. Let's put it that way, because it was all lumped into all the other ones. But my suggestion would be have Nicole do this and figure out what's what.
Okay.
She's
We're a year and a half in, and some of that money's 5 years old.
well, yeah, but I still don't know what year you're talking about.
It's all on there.
It goes back to 2020.
And every year I've asked, and I've always told there's no money left, but when you go through that, there should be. And I've never been given any printout or
Well,
receipt of anything showing.
Oh, Alex, that meeting we had with Steve, you, me, and Carl, I asked for the documentation from you to show that we owed you money. And this is the first time I've seen this.
At that meeting, I emailed you every Google sheet with the dam.
I'm sorry.
I was sitting there with you.
This is the first time I've seen this.
You guys were gonna go through and do that. I just did the work for you to show.
yeah, we'll turn it over to
Yeah.
Nicole, let her handle it, because she can come up with an honest opinion, and it'd be
The easiest would be is if you can go through your old payroll. You just pull, does Brad's dam pay
Not anymore, we fixed that, but yeah, you're right.
but for the last 5 years.
Yeah, it was different. Yeah, did make sense, but yeah.
Any idea on timing?
She's gonna be working up here next month, March. She won't be here so much; she'll be off-site, but she's also gonna be working with us. We still got to get her on our system too, so we'll get her up here one of the days and get all that started. So I'll give her a call. I think she's busy this week still with another town, but I'll give her a call and have her explain as best I can to her and give her your information too. So.
I know one of the issues that Gina had dealt with was the lack of time cards you submit for the work that you do.
And that's why we went to that contract.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, it's not a time card per se.
Well, I'm sorry. Okay.
It's just a pay, I'm gonna say pay voucher. Basically, he just sends me, like on a time card, it says, second quarter dam operations, and he signs it because the board requests everybody sign their pay request. So
Okay.
it's more of a pay request, than a typical time card like you
Right.
fill out.
So you just need to get those timely? Was that the issue or not?
Some of the board had said that they wanted to see those come every quarter and not wait till the end of the year.
And originally, when we made that contract with Steve, I didn't have to turn those in. That wasn't until Mark said he wanted them.
Okay.
So that all started last year.
So
And that there were no time cards or anything.
So does that present an issue for you to do them like quarterly for the year so that
That's how I prefer it.
the board has everything to look at? That'd be great then, I think.
And again, yeah, we asked that the time cards be turned in so we have a record. Otherwise, you got nothing. Like, you know, we're looking at 2020, we got nothing. Where's the time card from 2020? Was there a time card?
It's the dam log.
Dam logs is not a time card, but I understand where you're coming from.
Steve set it up
Yeah.
that way was to eliminate. Originally, we're doing them weekly or every other week.
Yeah.
And it just didn't make sense when I was being paid for it.
No, I agree with that. The quarterly makes sense. And you do know we got an extra 1,000 this year too, starting this year.
Didn't know that.
It's 11,000 now.
Yeah.
County was generous and agreed to our request.
Yeah, it's been the same for 6 years.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we know. So
And
it's
that's, again,
up.
I'm not asking for more money, I'm just asking for what's in my contract that I signed
Yep.
in 24.
Okay. We'll have Nicole work on it.
Carl, I think we have to come up with a new contract for Alex.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. I don't know whether to have her do it or have Jared do it. I don't know. We'll take a look at it.
Yeah.
What changes are you thinking of making?
Standardize it, basically. I think similar to what we had going. The one Bob wrote was pretty extreme, but we want to simplify it. You know,
Okay.
In some areas more vague
yeah,
when I showed it to Baker.
yeah. Again, you should get the full amount minus anything that comes out of it. Anything for bread, expenses, time, yada yada yada. I think that's how some of it was, but want to formalize it basically.
Yep. And that's what Steve came in was,
Yeah.
Brad's pay was supposed to come out, the mileage, employer taxes, all that
Yep.
stuff was not involved.
Yep. So pretty much.
Already gets pulled out ahead of time.
Sorry.
And then Gina's share
Yeah.
gets pulled out, and I think pretty much every year she's been under what's pulled.
Yeah. Yeah, just formalize it, make sure it makes sense, simplify it as best we can. Okay. All right,
Good?
we're good?
Okay.
Yeah.
Ideally like to resolve this before we sign a new one. So,
It has no effect on the other one. I mean, it's up to you, but yeah, we'll see. I'll see when she can get to it.
Been going on long enough.
year and a half, so, thank you.
All right, next agenda items. I got EOR be another presentation. We got anything more on the state of the lakes.
Probably biochar bag update.
Biochar update, yep. Anything else?
Put on next agenda.
If you think,
About the harvester position being combined,
okay.
the supervisor.
Oh, yeah. Got it. Again, thanks, Lisa, for coming in here. We appreciate it. Take money
Very
anytime.
much, yes, thank you.
So, all right. Next meeting date, I won't be here. I've got to meet with the Wisconsin Rural. The WTA asked me and about 15 other town chairs across the state to meet and discuss things, and I was going to blow them off. And I thought, you know what, this is an opportunity to talk to these guys because they seem to ignore some of the issues. They are now thinking about wake boats, and originally when I talked to them, they had no interest at all. I kind of gave them some grief. They gave me some grief back. Then we met last fall and got some of our griefs reversed, we'll say. Had some discussions with them, and just want to make sure that they're working actually for the towns and not for politicians or anybody else. So I said I said I would attend. So I mean, you don't need me at the meeting, but
So Mr. Baker won't be at that meeting, right?
No,
You
Brad will
won't
be
be-
back.
Brad will-
I'll be gone.
So we'll have 3 people then if Mark and Tim are both going to be here.
So do you want to change the date?
it's up to you guys. I mean, it's
Why don't we change the date?
You go a week ahead,
We could do that.
11th.
Does that make sense for everybody?
And you won't be back the 25th
I won't.
of March.
Brad will be back. He's coming back on the 10th, and I can attend virtually on the 11th of March, possibly. If it connects to the Caribbean.
Rub it in.
I'm trying.
You're doing a good job.
So did you,
11th or the 25th. I'm open to either one.
Why don't we do the 11th?
Oh, wait a minute. That's February. I'm looking at March. Yeah, same. 11th or 25th, yeah. 11th? Does that work?
11th works better for me than the 25th.
All right, let's make it the 11th.
Wednesday, March 11th at 9 a.m.
Yep. Can I get a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Motion carried. We're adjourned.